It's night in the middle of the forest. A little girl holds the hand of a tall, elegant man with long arms. She's not herself. Her eyes are lost in the void. The tall man looked at her with his pale, empty, haunting face, and he lets go of her hand. He disappears in the darkness of the night. The little girl remains still. A shiver runs through her back, and she falls to the ground, dead. Slenderman was not always like as we know him today. To know more about him, we have to take a step back. Slenderman's real name is Simon. He was born in Tumble Ridge, Canada. His parents were very poor. Both had lost their jobs. They wanted to isolate themselves from the frenzy of the modern society. In fact, they lived in a small house on the outskirts of the city. And when the mother realized that she was pregnant, she wanted to have an abortion. The father was against it, so Simon was born in a house, without the help of a doctor, without anyone. The two parents worked hard so they could take care of him, but the mother never wanted to hug Simon, causing him in the long term a very strong emotional deficiency, which would determine the cold character of Slenderman. Simon grew under the attention of his father, while his mother remained detached and absent. Often he went out of the house alone, doing long walks in the nearby woods, taking refuge in his solitude and inner world. He walked and played even at night, fantasizing about how it could have been a perfect life without malice, without hatred. But one day, his mother died by hanging herself. At one point, unable to continue living in Canada, they moved to Europe. His father managed to find employment in Bulgaria, and they settled there. The landscape wasn't much different for Simon. He could go for a walk into the woods there too, as he liked to. One night, Simon, at the age of 10, while returning from the woods, saw that his house was on fire. He was petrified, and his dad was inside. All he could do was run as fast as he could. He never knew the cause of the fire. He could only imagine what caused it. He ran to a small house in the middle of the woods. A woman lived there. Her name was Granny. Granny lived with her daughter named Angeline, which is Slenderina's mother. Granny welcomed and took care of him. Angeline and Simon grew up together, but then they also fell in love when they were 17. Finally, Simon was very happy after years of suffering. He had found love. So one night, while they were walking and playing together in the woods, something unexpected happened. They lost each other. Simon couldn't hear Angeline anymore, and it was a moonless night. He began to look for her, calling her name, but no answer. At the end, he found her laying on the ground. She fainted. He took her to Granny's house where she was treated, and when she woke up, Angeline told everything. A black dog, Good Boy, with long, sharp teeth and red eyes, had bitten her in the leg. By biting Angeline's leg, Good Boy sent a curse to her. The famous curse that would ruin and infect like a virus the family of Slenderina forever. But they didn't know it yet. After a year, the two moved and had a daughter, Slenderina. They gave her that name because she was very thin, but that curse was lurking. But it was when Slenderina was 14 that it manifested itself. One night, Simon and Slenderina were playing in the woods next to their house, waiting for Angeline. They would go out for dinner. Simon had put on his favorite suit. It was very elegant. Suddenly, Slenderina saw, like a flash in the sky, a figure of her mother. Frightened, she ran home, leaving her father in the woods. Walking slowly, Simon walked home. He couldn't stay away from his family alone. As soon as he entered the house, he saw on the bed Slenderina and Angeline dead, blood dripping from their throats. Completely clouded by what had happened, he went to the kitchen, took a knife, and killed himself. The lack of affection given by his mother had a violent effect on his behavior with his family, most of all regarding his emotional dependence. Angeline and Slenderina weren't really dead. They were there in front of Simon's body. He had had a hallucination because of the curse, as Slenderina had had in the woods, seeing a shape of her mother in the sky. So they ran into the woods to call for help, but there was no one there to help them. When they came back to the house, Simon's body wasn't there. They found him lying in the bed in a bedroom. As soon as they entered the room, Simon slowly rose up. His face was completely gone. His body was dry, thin, and elongated. It was stretched out, and his arms were disproportionate and long. That was Slenderman. After he extended an arm that turned into a horrible tentacle, with which he stabbed Slenderina and Angelina, killing them both. That's how it worked. They both had to die for the curse. Once they died, they both changed their appearance and characters, which we know today. Slenderman didn't say any words, and he disappeared, leaving Slenderina and Angeline in the house. He left his family to hide in the woods. That eventually became his real family. Slenderman always continued to wear his suit. He began to wander through the forest and managed to stay hidden for many years, until, however, people saw him and photographed him. He had become so cold that he could not speak. He stayed somewhere in the woods, thinking and enjoying everything that life had never given him. He stayed there hidden from the suffering that the world had reserved for him, just like when he was a child. Sometimes he felt the same suffering in some children, so he attracted them to himself with some drawings. When some child approached Slenderman, he tried to console them, taking them by the hand and caressing them. But without realizing it, he transmitted a kind of madness of schizophrenia that many times ended up with the death of the child. It was clear that the curse had given him something powerful. He's able to control the mind. His presence has an effect on modern digital instruments, causing video or audio distortion.